love lives here.
So I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker now. Reverend Caroline Flanders is a resident of the Inland Empire and a frequent visitor of Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, behind the scenes. Reverend Caroline lives a full-time ministry as a board-certified chaplain. Some of you may even recognize her from having served at both Riverside Community Hospital and Kaiser Fontana in the past. Most recently, Reverend Caroline has served as the Director of Supportive Care Services for a local hospice. Our CSL has been the home for several of her grief support groups and a remembrance ceremony in the past. She brings the heart of public service and compassionate care to her ministry, supporting the whole person in mind, body, and spirit. She was ordained just recently by Centers for Spiritual Living and serves home office on the Chaplaincy Committee, Affiliation Review Committee, and the Ethics Committee. She's extremely delighted to join our spiritual community where love is alive and all the people thrive. And so just please give a great, wonderful, warm Riverside welcome to Reverend Caroline.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone out in computer land. Who would have ever imagined that we would be connecting across the miles over the airwaves? Star stuff indeed. And so as we begin today, I just want to check in with y'all. How are y'all doing today? Is everybody breathing? Yes? Okay, I want to invite you to just take a really deep breath with me and release it. And one more. And as you release it, bring your hands to your heart. And just taking a moment to just feel that love just circulating throughout your body. Go ahead and open your eyes and catch the eye of someone nearby. Maybe it's someone sitting next to you. Maybe it's someone across the aisle. Go ahead and just share that beautiful love for a moment. And say with me, good morning. I'm so happy you're here today. Good morning. I'm so happy you're here today. Indeed. We are joining in communion and communication, if you will, with over 400 centers for spiritual living, just like this, focus ministries, teaching chapters, and individuals who are tuning in to different centers online this morning. And this month we have the opportunity to explore this wonderful theme of living everyday wonder through our relationships. I know that Reverend Jeffrey had a hand in creating these beautiful themes, so I just want to acknowledge his presence, even though he's not physically here. And even as I do that, thank you so much for sharing my connection to the center. The first time I walked in here was with Reverend Jerry Hobby. Does anyone here remember Reverend Jerry? And this was when she had created the Youth and Family Village. So this was maybe 15 years ago. I want to just invite her loving energy in here with us today. And also, for those of you who remember Sabrina and Babaji. Does anyone here remember Babaji? I know them well. I know them very well. And they guide me on my journey. And they're here with us today to guide the words that I will share with you. I feel so connected to this community, but not only this Center for Spiritual Living, which I have been around for quite a while, but as it was mentioned, I may have visited some of you here at the community hospital. I serve as a healthcare chaplain, and I've been doing this work for a very, very long time, before I was even a licensed spiritual practitioner. So you can imagine, I've met with a lot of people going through a lot of life situations. I've seen a tremendous amount of human suffering, and I've also shared in a tremendous amount of celebration with people. As a chaplain serving in healthcare, I walk side by side with the medical doctors, with the expertise of the nurses, social workers, pharmacists, psychologists, and my job is to tend to the human spirit. My job is to make an assessment about whether a person is feeling their spiritual strength in a situation, or maybe they're feeling spiritual distress in a situation. Because what we know from all of the studies, I'm sure you're all familiar with popular culture, there's articles every day in the newspaper and our emails that talk about how our spiritual selves, when we're feeling great spiritually, it has an effect on the rest of our life, right? It informs how we're doing physically. It informs how we're doing emotionally. So today I just want to share with you the 3 things that I know make a difference in the spiritual strength of anybody. This is what I've seen in my work as a chaplain. The first of those things is faith. Faith. For those of us who do place a belief, if you will, conviction behind it, in a power greater than ourselves, whatever form that takes for you, that is what we lean into in times of stress, in times of chaos, in times of challenge. And the second thing is purpose. For those of us who have a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, whether that be through our livelihood, whether it be through our hobbies, whatever it is that causes us to wake up each day and say, I am so glad I'm starting this day, and I get to engage in doing that which I love, that which gives me purpose. And the third thing is connection. Which brings me back to our topic today, living everyday wonder through our relationships. Relationships might be to the people who live in our homes, or maybe it's a group of friends that we socialize with, or maybe it's right here in this sanctuary. Because what I know to be true is that there is something that causes us to want to reach out and connect with our fellow human beings. And when we do that, it gives us strength, it gives us connectivity, it gives us hope, and a reason to continue on, even through our most difficult situations. Now, I've been really fortunate to have been able to attend a graduate school here at Loma Linda University here in the Inland Empire. And there we were taught in everything that we did about whole person care. Now, you all know Loma Linda is, a very powerful medical center. They do a lot of research, and they treat a lot of different kinds of situations that come up. One of the things that I learned while I was studying there is that Loma Linda is actually a blue zone. Have any of you ever heard of the blue zones? I see a few hands going up. So the blue zones, there was a group of researchers that made a discovery that there are only a very few places on this whole planet where there are groups of people who exceed the age of 100. Can you imagine that? A whole population of people in a community that have longevity because they are so engaged in their lives. And what we learn from this population, that it's not only how we treat our bodies with exercise and how we eat, how we nourish our bodies, but it's also our connections to others. And maybe even more importantly, it's our connection to nature. It's our relationship to nature all around us. These folks, even though they may be elderly, they are still very much engaged with life all around them. It might be working in a garden. It might be a community garden. It might be simply sitting on their porch and observing nature all around them. I know for myself personally, with a very busy life in my ministry, I don't have a lot of time to go out mountain climbing or body surfing or anything really dramatic like that. But what I do is, as the sun's going down, I sit in my backyard and I share with my husband about the events of the day. And I enjoy feeling the breeze on my body, on my skin. Or I love to watch my German Shepherd puppy playing on her splash pad. Right? Last summer, we had a fledgling crow that fell out of its nest on our property, and we got to watch her family or his family take care of him and allow him to go into adulthood. They still visit us every day. So just ask yourself, how do you choose to connect to nature? How is it that you experience that in your own personal journey every single day? Now, nature can and is filled with great power, isn't it? Just this morning, when I turned on my computer to gather my talk today, I saw a headline that the Sakurajima volcano in Japan erupted today. Has anybody made aware of that? So, there's just all of this force of nature that's around us. Here in Southern California, we're very familiar with all this, aren't we? We know about the wildfires. We know about the flash floods here in Inland Empire, for sure. We hear about the monsoons, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the whole bit. In fact, this part of the continent, North America, the United States, has more naturally occurring disasters than any place in the world. Did you all know that? I was pretty astounded. I read about that in an article recently. But you know what? Today I'm not here to unpack why all that stuff's going on. We're not going to have a conversation about global warming because it would turn into a conversation about global weirding, right? Global weirding. There is so many weird things going on in the world today. And what I have come to know for myself is that it starts with me. It's an inside job. My role, my work, my ministry is to have my own world in order, to know for myself where my connections, where my relationships make a difference in the world. One of my teachers was very fond of saying, every step that I take as a prayer. Every step that we take is a prayer. Now, true, we are just a little speck of star stuff, of stardust in a vast galaxy. For those of you who have been watching the news lately, no doubt you saw the image from the James Webb Space Telescope. That was just about a week ago, wasn't it? Right. And what I learned about that, I went onto the NASA website, and it's said to be the deepest and sharpest image of the distant universe thus far. That image, if you saw it, it was just absolutely stunning, wasn't it? It just looked like so many jewels. And to realize that that is in our galaxy. NASA went on to say that the image, the size of the image that we saw, is approximately the size of a grain of sand held at arm's length. Can you imagine that? A tiny sliver of the vast universe. It's pretty amazing when you stop to think. I know for me, it fills me with awe and wonder when I think of how beautiful and how great our creation is that we are one and part of. But you don't have to reach up to the stars and look up into the universe to be filled with awe and wonder, do you? It is right outside of these doors. Such a beautiful, glorious day it was when I pulled up into the parking lot and felt the warmth of the sun and saw the beautiful trees. There's one person who I really love, and I'm sure you all know who this is, John Muir. Yes? John Muir was from Scotland, and he came here to North America. He was born in 1838. You guys, that was a long time ago. And he actually died in Los Angeles. He was kind of like a local. He died in 1914. John Muir, he is known to us as John of the Mountains. He is also known as the father of the national parks. But here's what I've come to learn about John Muir. In my own personal exploration of the redwoods, in my journey up to Yosemite or seeing the beautiful Sierras, there's always a bench somewhere that has a John Muir quote etched into it, isn't there? There was so much of what he gave us. Imagine journeying west across these United States and seeing the splendorous beauty of this land from the Rocky Mountains to the West Coast. It's no wonder that he ended up in California, right? There is so much natural beauty here. Imagine if you are John Muir, and for the very first time, you're taking in the image of the great sequoias. Or you're seeing the beauty of the Sierra Mountain Range. Imagine how he felt when he saw these things. How he was filled with awe and wonder at the splendorous creation that we all have to live in. Imagine what it would be like if every day when you set foot outside of your door and you took a look around and you were filled with the same awe and wonder as Mr. Muir. Now, one of the things that I was really amused to learn about John Muir was that he was a really big fan of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Did you all know that? Yeah. I mean, I think it was kind of a thing at that time, this love of nature, waxing poetic about creativity, seeing the divine in every blade of grass. They had something in common, right? Well, there was this time that Ralph Waldo Emerson in 1871 took a trip to California, because he wanted to check out all the natural beauty that we have here. And guess what? He spent an entire day with John Muir. Could you imagine being in the room with those two? How wonderful that would be. It is said in John Muir's, one of his biographies, Emerson was delighted to find at the end of his career the prophet naturalist he had called for so long ago. And for Muir, Emerson's visit came like a laying on of the hands. Now, we know that Ralph Waldo Emerson had a very big influence on the founder of religious science, on Dr. Ernest Holmes. But who knew that that was also related to John Muir? I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool to learn that. That day, that very day, Ralph Waldo Emerson offered John Muir a professorship at Harvard University. Imagine that. And what did John Muir say? He said, I never for a moment thought of giving up God's big show for a mere professorship. Your experience of nature, it doesn't have to be grand. It does not have to be one of grandeur, if you will. It can be something as simple as stepping outside onto the grass in bare feet. It can be something as simple as closing your eyes and allowing yourself to just feel the warmth of the sun or the gentle breeze. Right? And we know that for some folks, being in the elements is not easy. We know for some folks that being in the path of a natural disaster can change the trajectory of their whole life. Aren't we so very blessed and privileged to be sitting inside right now with this air-conditioned room, to be talking about philosophy, to be waxing poetic about putting bare feet on the grass? We truly are. So that makes it incumbent upon us to take this feeling, this knowingness of oneness with that creation out into the world. Because when we do, others will see it reflected back to them. And they too will be able to connect to that powerful force of creation, the one with the one that each and every one of us is an expression of. It's true. We must feel, sense, and know. Feel it, sense it, and know that we are all one with creation. There's a Rastafarian saying, he who feels it knows it. Say that with me. Who feels it knows it. Who feels it knows it. Who feels it knows it. You can feel it. You know, in the Hebrew and Christian Bible, in the Psalms, anybody here ever read the Bible? Oh. One of my most favorite Psalms, Psalm 139, I paraphrase. It is written, if I climb to the heavens, you are there. If I take the wings of dawn or dwell at sea's furthest end, even there, your hand would guide me. I praise you, God, that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. From the time that you were in the womb, that which created you already knew everything that there was to know about you. And if that isn't the greatest mystery of all, how we have all come to be, how that which loves us so deeply can create us to be here in this place and time, so that we might go and be an inspiration to others. Let's face it, there is global weirding going on, guys. This is a call to you. This is a call to you to draw upon that faith and a power greater than yourself, to know that you are one with it, and then to find purpose through that calling and to touch and inspire the lives of others by showing the way that you live, by your reverence for all that is alive and has been created by that which loves us, and then to connect with it and make relations with it. Dr. Ernest Holmes said, "We must expect to find in man, therefore, the same inherent attributes that we find in the universe from which he springs. A single drop of water is not the whole ocean, but it does contain within itself the same qualities and attributes." In the Purification Lodge, one of our prayer songs, we would sing, and I'm not going to sing it because we're going to have a bunch of frogs answering, I promise. Maybe our musicians know the song. We all come from the mother. We all come, all of us, from the mother, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Every single one of us, we are all one, all with the all of creation. As above in the universe, so below on this beautiful, beautiful land that we call our home. Others will recognize within you that beautiful light that is reflected of all of creation. Today, that is my invitation to each of you, that when you step out of here, that you carry this life forward, and maybe we can make the planet a little bit less weird. Just maybe. And remember to take every step with a prayer. I'm going to invite you to repeat a blessing with me. May beauty be above us. May beauty be above us. May beauty be below us. May beauty be below us. And may beauty be all around us. May beauty be all around us. We are star-stuffed. We are golden. We are one with the one. And so now, let us join together and just turn within in prayer. And if it feels comfortable to you, I'm going to invite you to put your hands back onto your heart. Remember that feeling essence of that breath that you took at the beginning of this time together, this sacred moment in time, where I know and I recognize that that which created us breathes the very life through us, as us, in us. And what I know is that we are each and every one of us one with the divine, one with the goodness of the divine, the G-O-D God that I know as creator, as that which brings comfort, as that which brings beauty, as that which brings hope. And so even in a world that sometimes feels like chaos, that sometimes feels even a little bit weird, what I know to be absolutely true is that that one resides within me. And as I allow myself to be connected to that, I know that it is connected and outpictured to everyone with whom I meet. And so today, I know and I affirm for each and every one of us here in this room that we go forward, and with every step that we take, we make a prayer that the world will continue to evolve and be a better place through our connection to it. I give thanks for this faith and this conviction. I simply call it forth into being as all of us affirm it together and say, and so it is, and so it is, amen. Thank you.
Love